Hello everybody, I'm Ian Abernethy, and in this video I want to talk about karate improving character. So we've got the famous quote from Gichin Funakoshi, you know, that the essence of karate does not lie in victory or defeat, but in the perfection of character of its participants. So what I want to talk about is, you know, does that really happen? And if so, what's the mechanism for that? And what are the pros and pitfalls around this side of karate? So that's what we're going to be discussing in this video. Well, I think the answer has to be a resounding yes, no, and maybe. I'm sure everyone watching this will be aware of karateka who are, you know, great people, supportive people, you know, good people to be around, kind, compassionate. I'm also sure you're aware of karateka who are horrible human beings. We can all think of cases of high-ranking karateka who have, you know, gone to prison for doing reprehensible things, who, you know, dishonest criminals who've hurt and harmed other people, as well as plenty of people who are, you know, good, kind-hearted and compassionate. So one thing we can say is just doing karate doesn't make you a better person automatically. It demonstrably does not do that. I think where karate can help is what it can do is it can provide a challenging process by which there can be some self-reflection. So the nature of martial arts training, when it's done right, is that it's very challenging, it's very demanding, there's nowhere for you to hide, so weaknesses in your character will be exposed to you if you look for them. You'll be aware of when your ego rises up, you'll be aware of where your determination starts to falter, or you know, a frustration or impatience starts to rise. And once you see them, and you obviously know that they're there, you can address them. So one of my instructors used to liken it to a bicycle inner tube. You know, so you put the inner tube, and if it's got a hole in it, you put it in the water and you pump air into it. And where the holes are, you can see them. But you can't see the holes until you apply the pressure. So that's one way in which martial arts can help improve character. They are stressful, they are demanding, they demand that you set goals and strive to achieve those goals. But again, it's not a guaranteed process. You know, martial arts can do the exact opposite. You know, they can feed people's narcissism. They can feed the self of delusion. They can their arrogance, their ability to control others. You know, so you know, it's not a guaranteed process. You know, that's certainly something we can say. Can it improve character? Yes, it can. Is it guaranteed? Definitely not. Indeed, in some cases, it could make a person worse. So let's look at this idea that martial arts make you a better person and some of the problems around that. Now, if we present it as being universally true, you know, that, you know, you train in martial arts, by default, you're going to become a better human being. It follows, therefore, that the higher graded a person is, the better a human being they are. Starts to sound a bit cult-like to me, you know. So the highest graded guy in your dojo is the best person in your dojo, and the lowest graded person is the worst person. And if the worst people want to become better people, then they should listen to the advice of the guru at the top of it all. It all starts to sound a bit cult-like to me, and you know, I am not comfortable with that. In most cases, if someone's got a higher grade than you, they're trained for longer, or they've got more skill, or they're more highly recognized by a given group. It's no real reflection on their qualities as a human being, and should never be taken as such. The other thing is, as well, it can be used to manipulate people and to enforce hierarchies. So everyone aspires to be a good person, and accusations that you're not a good person can be used to control you. So if you challenge your instructor over some point, they could say, no, you're being arrogant. You're being arrogant. You should be more humble. You know, you should be a good person. You know, you're being egotistical because you're daring to challenge my ego. You know, no one sees the irony of that. You know, so sometimes, you know, aspiring to be a good person can be an issue, and you don't want to be a good person for everybody, right? You know, so for my friends and my family, my students, for me and mine, the people around me, you know, I want them to think I'm a good human being. You know, I want their lives to be enriched by having me in it, right? But I'm okay if some people think I'm the devil, you know what I mean? That's fine with me, because there are some people who you want to think that of you. You want to think ill of you. Maybe it's because you're not doing what they want you to do. Or maybe it's because there's a part of your character that threatens them. You know, like the lazy don't like the industrious. You know what I mean? And the unsuccessful don't like the successful sometimes, you know. You get this, you know, the unskilled sometimes envy the skilled. You know, so you've got to watch is why are these people deeming you bad? And sometimes it's not because you're bad, it's because it's more to do with them. You know, it's more to do with them. So you should, the people around you that you care about, you should care what they think of you, but you shouldn't care what everyone thinks of you, because that can be used to manipulate you. Now, even from a self-defense point of view, predators will do that. They will try and manipulate you. They will appeal to your better nature to try and get you to do what they want. So in martial arts training, if you want to include that self-defense element, we should be encouraging people to go, you know what, you stand on your own 2 feet. Don't judge yourself what other people think about you. If, you know, it's not important. And part of this idea that, you know, you need to be a good person and we'll define what a good person is, that can be unhealthy in a martial arts sense, and it can be really problematic from a self-defense point of view too. So having looked at some of the negatives, let's look at some of the positives, right? So there's no doubt that martial arts can be challenging. They're hard work, they demand that you work hard, that you set goals for yourself, that you're honest about your own abilities and failings. And if you use this challenging experience to as an opportunity for reflection and introspection, I do believe they can be useful in character development, okay? So, you know, for example, you know, if you're going to progress in the martial arts, you need to train on a consistent basis. And that can develop the character trait of diligence, right? So maybe you're not progressing the way that you would like. You know, you have to reflect. Okay, is that for some other reason? Maybe the instruction's not as good as I like. You know, maybe I need to go to a better club, or maybe I'm not as diligent as I need to be. If there's a tournament coming up and you said, oh, I don't want to enter it because I don't like tournaments. Is that really what's going on? And maybe you're scared. You know, so maybe your courage isn't what it could be. You know, these are things that you martial arts training can force you to reflect upon. If you always just notice and observe what's going on within you, and then, you know, look at it and then make a decision and decide, okay, how do I grow from this scenario? Maybe I do that thing I find challenging and scary, you know? Maybe there's a guy in the club that you always find difficult to spar with. It's bad for your ego because he doesn't hurt you, but he just beats you all the time. You know, so your ego rises up and you think, oh, I don't like sparring with that guy. But why? Maybe, you know, maybe you can just get in there and learn. Maybe it's better for you to lose a lot and learn than win a lot and learn nothing, you know? So I do believe the martial arts can help you progress as a human being, but it needs to be part of a deliberate part of self-introspection. It's not as the instructor telling you whether you're a good person or not and seeking to be a guru or a counselor. It's about the instructor providing a challenging environment for you and then for you to reflect upon what you experience within that environment. Okay, so I'd like to conclude with some of my own experiences around this. So when I started karate, I was a young kid, out of shape kid, never did any sport, didn't see the point of it. I'd mastered the art in schoolwork of doing just enough to stay out of trouble. I had no real interest. I wasn't particularly highly motivated, you know, a bit of a slacker. Then I decided that martial arts might be something I wanted to do. I went along and eventually decided, yeah, this is my thing. I want to be good at this. I did my first grading, my yellow belt grading, and I scraped through. So as a kid, I just passed it on the lowest level of pass possible, and I was proud of myself for passing, right? But I just as so scraped it, as, you know, I'd mastered the skill of doing that, right? Then as my orange belt grading was coming around, I started to think to myself, you know, am I really ready for this? And I started getting a bit nervous that I would fail because I cared about this in a way I didn't care about my schoolwork, if I'm honest, right? So, and then it dawned on me, okay, I can help myself prepare for this. So I set myself a little training program. I would come in from school and I'd do half an hour, 40 minutes an hour, and I'd practice the things that the instructors had told me in the class. You know, you need more work on this stance needs improved, this kick needs improved, this is what you need to work on. And I would practice it. Now, when the grading came around, I went in there feeling really confident. I flew through the grading. I passed with the highest level of pass possible. And for me, that was a revelation. You know, this is for a child, this was the first time I realized I can, through my own diligence and my own effort, I can shape my future, right? I am not mercy to the winds of fate. You know, I to a degree, can control my own future. And that was a very important thing for me that I've been making use of ever since. In everything that I've done, I go, no, I have a belief that through hard work and diligence, I can achieve what it is I want to achieve. I've benefited from that, and my family and my friends and my loved ones, they've benefited from that too. So I can point to some aspects of karate and go, yes, it has definitely improved my character, and that's just one example. However, I am most definitely a work in progress. Anyone who knows me knows this, you know. I am far from being perfect. There are people in my club who are way lower grades than me, that are better people than I am in many different respects. I'm always looking for admirable traits in others. Just because I'm the highest grade in the dojo doesn't mean I'm the best person in the dojo. As everyone in my dojo knows, I am the first among equals. The only reason I'm teaching the classes is because I'm the most experienced martial artist, not because I'm the best human being, right? Far from it. I'm also lucky that a lot of my students are my friends, and they're quite happy to joke with me and mock me, and when I do dumb things or say dumb things, they're the first ones to call me up on it, the first ones to challenge me, which I like. You know, I'm not everyone may like that environment, but I like it because I think it makes for an honest environment, and it avoids some of the cult-like things that can maybe develop if we're not careful about this character development idea. So I'm a great believer that karate can improve character, but it's not guaranteed. It can fuel people's narcissism, it can fuel people's ego, it can fuel people's sense of control. It can make people worse, right? And also, it's not about the instructor acting as a guru to you, to trying to make you into a better person. That's not it. They provide a challenging environment from which will pressure you, will test you, and then from there you can use that as an opportunity for reflection and self-introspection. It's not about the instructor standing at the start judging whether you're good or bad or giving you advice. It's not the role of a martial arts instructor in my view, right? And there's nothing unique about martial arts either. If you took up athletics or gymnastics or rock climbing or anything else that's physically challenging, the same things will apply. There's nothing unique about the martial arts aside from the fact that martial arts realize that's something that they can help with, and they've made that a major selling point. But we shouldn't take it as a given because it's far from it. And the one thing I'd really like to conclude with is, you know, it's very important, I think, for everybody that you accept that not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to think you're a good person. And people will use that to try and manipulate you, both inside the dojo, perhaps, certainly outside of it. You know, you wouldn't do that if you loved me. You wouldn't do that if you were a good person. You're being egotistical. You're being selfish. Now, maybe you are being those things, right? And maybe there are elements you need to improve on. So, you know, don't automatically rejected because that way narcissism lies, right? But learn to differentiate between, is that something said by someone who loves me trying to help me, or is that said by someone who wants to manipulate me to achieve their own ends, right? Because it's important to be mindful of that. And personally, I think I'm pretty good at spotting the two, and I would encourage you to do the same. Very important for the self-defense, very important for your life generally. So can karate improve your character? The answer is a resounding yes, no, maybe, and there's many more caveats besides.